They say that variety is the spice of life, and with binary options trading, this holds true as well. In addition to the regular digital binary options that we've talked about so far, there are a few other types of binary options that you can use to pepper your trading strategy. This will help you fine-tune your trading view and make more money. Hi, my name is Reese Shapiro, and I'm your binary options trading coach. I spent over 10 years trading options for a major bank. And in that role, I focused most of my time and money on the most traditional types of options. But occasionally, I had the opportunity to trade different types of options. Now, as a binary options trader, I use a very similar strategy. I focus most of my time and money on the most traditional types of binary options, which we've talked about so far as digital binary options. But sometimes I find a situation where I think I can make more money using one of the other types of binary options. In this video, we're going to build your binary options tool belt. We're going to expand to include a few different types of binary options so that you'll be ready to use these other types when the right situation comes up. Now, this is the 5th lesson in our series. If you've missed any of the earlier lessons, please go back and watch them. Even if you think you already know the material, I bet there'll be something in there that you'll learn that you didn't already know. And if this is your first time watching this video, I usually suggest that my students watch each video at least twice. The first time through, you might miss something that you'll catch on the second or even the third time. So watch the video, take some time to go over your notes, and watch it again. And while we're talking about your notes, you'll want to make sure that you have a pen and paper handy if you don't already have one. You want to jot down any notes or questions that you might have on the material. And I find that this helps me learn new concepts more quickly and thoroughly. In this series, and in this lesson in particular, you're getting a lot of new information. So please be patient with yourself and with the learning process. Everyone learns at their own pace. It's better to take your time to learn to trade well, rather than rushing ahead without all the skills and knowledge that you need to succeed. Now, in previous lessons, we've really focused on the most common type of binary options, and that's traditional digital binary options. These options have two possible outcomes based on the level of the underlying asset at the expiration of the option. Digital binary options are either in the money or out of the money, based solely on where the asset is trading at expiration of that option. To trade these digital binary options, we pick the asset, expiration, direction, and investment. When we find a good strike price, we hit go to execute the trade. Now, we've touched briefly on the fact that there are some other types of binary options, and today we're going to talk in detail about these other types. And these are turbo binary options, sometimes called 60-second binary options, touch binary options, which are sometimes called one-touch binary options, and ladder binary options. Now, 60-second binary options are very similar to digital binary options. The strike price is set at the initial level, and the payout depends on the level of the asset relative to that strike price at expiration. The primary difference between 60-second binary options and regular digital binary options is the term. The duration tends to be much shorter. As the name implies, most turbo binary options expire 60 seconds from when you put on the trade. Some brokers have turbo or quick binary options that'll expire as short as 30 seconds from execution, and sometimes they'll be as long as 5 minutes. But typically they're a very short-term digital binary option. So let's click on 60-second within the Go Options site. Now here we're looking at a 60-second binary option on gold. You can click here to change the asset, and you'll notice right away that the selection of assets for 60-second options is going to be a lot smaller relative to the assets available for trading on traditional binary options. And you'll find that on most broker sites for most of these more exotic types of binary options, that your choice of assets is going to be a lot more limited. Now here on Go Options, you have the choice between 30-second, 60-second, or 120-second options on gold. And you can choose your investment amount from this drop-down menu. Now usually with these quick 60-second binary options, I tend to do a smaller investment amount because I can get more trades done in a very quick amount of time. So now let me scroll down so that we can see the trading screen a little bit better. Again, we have the option here to look at more long-term or more short-term chart on gold. And again, to do this trade, I'll click either on call or on put. With 60-second binary options, the trade execution happens very quickly, and the option goes right down into my open positions. Again, the open positions tells me the asset, the direction, the start time, the strike level, the current level, my investment amount, and my potential payout. And over here on the right, I have this countdown timer. Now, you'll notice that this whole row is red now. It was green before, and that indicates whether my option is in the money, in which case I'll get my full payout, or out of the money, in which case I'll get zero. Now, let's quickly go over to Option Rally so you can see how to do a 60-second option within Option Rally. So here's the Option Rally trade entry screen for 60 seconds. You'll see that it's very similar to Go Options, and I think a lot of brokers have a very similar trade entry site for 60-second options. We have our asset selector, and again you'll notice that the selection of assets is much more limited for 60-second relative to traditional digital options. And we have our investment amount selector with our various choices available. Within Option Rally, there's no choice for the expiration. All turbo options expire in 60 seconds. So to start, I just click on my direction and the start button. And the option goes down into my open positions. Now again, it tells us the asset, direction, start time and end time, entry rate and current rate, and my potential payout for a $25 investment. And again, I have the countdown timer ticking down, telling me how much time remains in my option. You'll also notice that here we also have a red or a green row, depending on whether my option is in the money or out of the money. White indicates that it's at the money. So that's how you do a turbo or a 60-second binary option in Option Rally. And I think you'll find most brokers it works pretty similar. Now, touch binary options are a little different. With digital binary options, the idea is that we're making an investment based on whether we think the asset will be above or below the strike price at the time of expiration. So the only time that's important is really that expiration time right here. It doesn't matter to us where that asset trades during that time of that option, whether it trades higher or lower. All that matters is where the asset is trading relative to the strike price at expiration. It doesn't really matter what goes on in here between when we execute the trade and the expiration. With touch binary options, though, it matters a lot what happens between now and expiration, because the asset can hit the strike price at any time between when you enter the trade and expiration. So here I have a chart of an asset trading towards expiration. If I enter a touch trade, my bet would be whether that asset is going to touch that strike price here at any point between now and expiration. So the asset could trade below for the whole time until right at the end when it trades above. That would be one way that a touch could trigger. Another way would be for it to trade above that strike price for only part of the time, but expire below that strike price. It doesn't matter when the asset touches that strike price. It only matters that it touches that strike price. And you can have touch binary options where the strike price is above the current level or below the current level. So that's touch binary options. Now, if I go over to the Go Options site and click on the One Touch tab to bring me to the trading room for One Touch, one thing you might notice is that the payouts are significantly higher relative to traditional binary options. Traditional binary options pay out somewhere between 160 and 190% of your investment. Here, this One Touch option will pay out 420% of my investment if it triggers. Another thing you might notice about One Touch options is that the list of assets available for trading is much shorter. Right now, I only have 2 U.S. indices and 3 U.S. stocks. And again, the list of assets is going to depend a lot on the time and therefore what markets are open. So let's look at an example on Apple, which is a U.S. stock. Now here, I'm looking at a goal rate of 546, and that's compared to a current stock price of 525. Now this option will expire on November 8th, which is 2 days from now, at 17:10. Now in order to trade this option, I need to choose my investment, whether I'm going to invest $50, $100, $150. There's a lot of different choices. Let's say right now I invest $100 in this. My potential payout is 420% or $520 for a correct choice. So if I think that Apple, at any time within the next 2 days, will trade above $546, then I'll get paid $520 if I'm right. So to put on this trade, I'm going to click Apply. Once again, click Apply and approve the trade. Now I can scroll down to see this position in My Open Positions under the One Touch tab. My option is on Apple. My goal rate is 546. I have a call option which pays out if Apple touches above that level before 2 days from now. And right now, this option is open. So when would you use a One Touch option? Well, when I think that an asset is poised for a pretty big move in a particular direction, I like to use One Touch options because they have a much higher payouts relative to regular digital options. Now remember, you need the asset to move not just in your direction a little bit, but by enough to get all the way to the strike price. So with touch options, you want to pick a time where you can pretty accurately predict the direction of your asset. There's some advantage to placing trades relatively far in advance of the expiration if you can choose your expiration rather than choosing options that expire quickly, because you'll give your asset more time to hit the strike price. Now notice that on Apple, I can choose a One Touch Up option where I need Apple to increase in order to make my payout. I can also choose a One Touch Down option where I need Apple to trade down to a level of 504 to make my payout. So you can trade One Touch Up or One Touch Down. Trading One Touch options on Option Rally works pretty similarly. From the trading room, we click on the One Touch tab. And we notice again that the list of assets is much more limited relative to traditional binary options. Here we have a few different indices and a few different U.S. stocks right now. And you'll also notice that Option Rally has similar payout percentages. Here on Apple, for the binary call option with a strike level of 546, we have a $420 return. This option expires tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock in the morning, New York time. So again, to trade this option, I would just pick the number of units that I want to invest in, where each unit represents a $50 investment. Click Apply, and I get this thank you message indicating that my trade has been approved. If I click on My Account, and then my options portfolio, here I see that option that I just traded right here, my one-touch instrument with a call option or an upward direction on Apple, $50 investment, expiration on November 8th. So there it is in my open positions. Now, in addition to the option types that we've already talked about, so traditional or digital, turbo or 60-second, and one touch or just touch, different brokers offer different types of options. For example, Go Options offers a long-term binary option, which can expire in 2 days, next week, at the end of this month, at the end of the year, or next year. So these are very, very long-term binary options. And if you have a view on your asset over a longer term, you can trade these options. Go Options also offers a ladder binary option. And a ladder binary option is really an implementation of a multi-binary option strategy that we'll talk about later in our series called stacking. Go Options also offers a pairs option. And a pairs option is really just a comparison between two stocks. So in this case, we're talking about Apple versus Google as an example. The next one, we talk about gold versus silver. Some brokers will call pairs a different type of option, and other brokers will call pairs a different type of asset class. Some brokers will offer different types of options than the ones that you see here. For example, Option Rally, one of my other brokers, offers a custom option builder. And some of the other sites that I've seen offer range trading options, no-touch options, and other types of exotic binary options. Another reason to pick multiple brokers is that you'll have access to multiple different types of binary options. If you have any questions, you can send them to us at any time. We'll be happy to help you fine-tune your trading abilities. Now, before we end this video, I'm going to go over some of the questions that I get from a lot of my students. Some of my students ask me about one-touch binary options, when and why they would trade a one-touch up binary option, for example, versus a regular traditional binary call option. Now, both options are bullish options, meaning you think the asset is going to go higher. But the difference is that I think the asset is going a lot higher. I have a lot of conviction that a big move is coming. That's where you want to use the one-touch options. On the other hand, if it looks like support is firming up and the asset's unlikely to go down, but you're not sure how high up it'll go, the regular traditional binary option is the right option. So both can be really useful. It just depends on your exact view. I often get a more general question about my trading, which is about what % of the time do I spend trading these advanced strategies versus regular digital binary options. And the answer is really going to depend on the situation and really on the day. Because in reality, we're all busy. So on a day where I might have more time, that might be a good opportunity to drill down on my view on an asset and choose one of the more advanced option types to try to make a little bit more money if I can really solidify exactly how bullish I think the situation is shaping up to be, as an example. But if I'm really busy on one day, and you get busy too, I might just quickly trade some digital options or some turbo options even so that I can make some money in just a few minutes. But overall, if you take an average over my years of trading, I would say probably about 75% of my trades are digital options and about 25% are the other types. But I know some students that get really comfortable with one type of options. For example, I have one student who's really comfortable with range trades, and so he does probably about 80% of his trades are range trades, and he's been very successful with that strategy. So that's just an example. Other people might be more familiar with one touch or with no touch. So it really depends on your situation and on your personality, which of these trading strategies you're going to be most familiar with. So that's it for this lesson. If this is your first time through this video, I'll suggest that you watch it at least one more time, just to make sure you have a handle on everything we've talked about today. We went over a lot of material, so I want to make sure that you really master it before you move on. If you missed any of our earlier videos, I suggest you go back and watch those videos at least once. In our next video, we'll talk about how to plan your trading day for maximum profitability. And this lesson is going to help you tremendously in your trading. For now, I'm Reese Shapiro, your binary options trading coach, and I'll see you next time.